Hello, my amazing human beings. Welcome to this journaling session. In this journaling session, we are going to cover slowing down and tuning into ourselves via journaling. And I really hope you enjoy this session. So before we get started, I just want you to make sure that you're in a comfy place, that you feel safe and secure and comfortable. If not, feel free to move about and get yourself into a comfortable, secure position, and then we'll start again. If you're feeling comfy, put one hand on your stomach and put one hand on your heart. And we're just going to take 3 deep breaths in and out. I'm going to do 2 more, and we're just going to slow and inhales and exhales even more. And I just want to remind you that slowing down is okay and rest is safe. We've become productivity junkies. We're forever piling onto our to-do lists. Even when we know how important rest is, we have a never-ending to-do list. But do you feel guilty when you're resting? Do you feel guilty or bad when you slow down? Because I just want to remind you that rest is essential to our own healing. And I'm going to repeat that for you, okay? Rest is essential to our own healing. But as a society, we have a negative way to thinking about stress because we're always thinking we should be doing more. There should be more that we have to do, more that we have to get done. But we know doing more and not resting leads to burnout. And we want to avoid burnout as much as possible because burnout is painful, burnout is exhausting, burnout is difficult to manage. And I want you to be aware, if you weren't already, that our body gives us signs to let us know we're heading towards burnout. And it's our job to interpret those signs to realize we're hitting burnout. Okay. So we want to be able to recognize those signs so we can start to slow down, so we can realize what's going wrong and we can correct it. Okay. And our body lets us know these things. Okay. And it's about tuning into our body and recognizing those. Okay. So do you know the signs in your body when it's telling you that things are not okay? When things are just getting to be a bit much, when you're getting stressed and anxious, how does that show up in your body? Are you prone to more headaches? Do you have migraines? Do you like those headaches develop into migraines? I am guilty of that one completely, 100%. I am guilty of that one. Do you have a chronic illness, and does it flare up more frequently when you're heading towards stress and burnout and struggling? Are you grinding your teeth or gritting your teeth or clenching your teeth? Those are other signs that your body is letting you know that, something isn't right and you're stressed and you're heading towards burnout. And I want you to ask yourself if you're really listening to these signs, or are you just pushing yourself forward and then crippling yourself for days afterwards? Because again, I am guilty of this as well. I am somebody who suffers from migraines. I am somebody who has a chronic illness and is prone to flare-ups, and flare-ups happening the more stressed and anxious I become. And I am really good at still being able to work when I'm sick and pushing through because of my never-ending to-do list, or because I haven't set good boundaries with other people or for myself. That is probably my worst one. I haven't set good boundaries with myself. And sometimes I haven't set good boundaries with clients, or I've let clients encroach on the boundaries that I've set. So what can you do to stop yourself from heading towards burnout? How can you interpret those signs? What can you do when those things show up that are telling us that something's not right? For me, with my headaches, my migraines, it is basically getting off all screens. It's getting off screens. It's getting off my laptop. It's getting off my phone. It's not staring at the TV. It is most likely, I will say that I generally have the TV on in the background, but I will hide under a blanket. I will close the curtains. I'm very grateful we have blackout curtains in every room of our house now, and I can close the curtains. I can block out all the light, hide under a blanket, or turn my back to the TV, dim the lights on the TV, and just have one of my favorite films playing on the background while I rest and nap and take a step back. And that's okay. Okay, doing those things is not bad. We have to put ourselves first. We have to recognize these signs that are showing up and telling us that, hey, something's not right. We need to slow down. We need to figure these things out. We need to take a step back. Busyness can distract us from the things we really need to be focusing on, like doing the deeper work or building or repairing important relationships. How many times have you been like, oh no, I still have this and this to do before I can sit down and have a chat with my partner on the sofa, before we can go out for that meal, before we can go and do something that's fun, because we feel guilty for doing the fun self-care things, and that we think are, because our to-do list is never ending, that we can't enjoy those things. Society pushes us to be productive and busy, and the reward is to be exhausted, when in fact rest does not need to be earned. It is essential. Okay, rest does not need to be earned. It is essential. Something that I just want to add here is that rest is healing. You don't realize how healing rest is and can be. I am going to use my husband, my lovely husband, as an example, okay? My husband is a super productive human being, especially at his work. He is always on top of it. He has lists. He is organized. He is like, generally, he's a month in advance organized generally at work. And he is on it. And he works in retail, and he generally doesn't get 2 days off together. He generally gets a day off, then he's back in, and then he'll maybe have another day off. It'll be a few more days before he gets a day off. But if my husband has 2 days off together and he's been overdoing it, he will feel like utter shite those 2 days that he has off. He will feel like he's getting a cold. He'll feel run down. He won't have any energy. He'll feel like everything's been not zapped. Everything's been pulled out of him. Like it's just been, like he's just been thrown under a blanket of exhaustion. And it's really difficult to get him to slow down. But I kind of have to be like, look, these are the signs that you're overdoing it. You need to pull back. You need to delegate better. And those are always really fun conversations for me, because it feels really good for me to be able to say those things to him, because he in the past has said those things to me. So, it's one of those really nice give and take things. But when we rest, using my husband as an example, when he gets to rest, that's when his body is telling him, now we've slowed down, we need to stay slowed down. This is the pace we really need to be going at more often. And it can be difficult, especially if you work in a really busy environment, or if you feel like you're on the go all the time. But if you don't slow down, you're going to burn out, and you're going to be in a much worse position than just feeling like you've got a cold or that all your energy's been sucked out of you. So just remember that you don't need to do anything to earn your rest. And rest is a daily essential, guys. It's really, really, really a daily essential. So we get stuck when it comes to rest and to slowing down. We feel like we're constantly on the hamster wheel of just one more thing, then I'll rest, then I'll sit down, then I'll go make a cup of tea, then I'll get ready for bed. We feel that we have to be super productive all the time. We compare ourselves. We're all guilty of it at some point or another. We have all written our to-do lists on our Instagram stories, or on whatever platform that you use to communicate with people. Maybe you've done it on a podcast, maybe you've done it on YouTube, maybe you've done it on Facebook in the past, or you do it in your Facebook group. I am guilty of sharing my to-do list. And then when other people have shared theirs, you feel like you've not achieved enough because their list is longer, they've got more things done, and you're falling behind. And so we feel that we're on the hamster wheel of one more thing, that we have to be super productive, and then we can rest. But we know it doesn't work that way. We know that it doesn't work that way. I love this philosophy of slow living. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing slowly. If you can't afford the time to do it slowly, maybe there is no time in doing it at all. So anything is worth doing, it's worth doing slowly. Sorry, it's worth doing slow. I'm 100% behind that. It's really difficult. I still struggle with this. 7 years into running my business, having a chronic illness side by side with it. You would have thought I would have mastered this by now, but I still struggle with this. So you are not alone if you are struggling with this. And that saying, anything is worth doing, it's worth doing slow, is similar to that saying of, if you don't have time to meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for an hour. Okay, because the idea behind that is that's when you need it the most. If you don't have time to meditate for 10 minutes, then that's when you need to meditate for an hour, because that is literally when you need it the most. So what can you take from this? Slowing down helps us to enjoy the present more. William Bridge says, instead of asking yourself, what do I have to do today? Ask yourself, what can I let go of today? And what's left is the real priority, because when we slow down, we experience the moment more and we can be more in the moment. I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of so much. Too busy doing and not being. I have in the past been so wrapped up in doing that I just haven't been present and connected with myself. And what we really want is, we want quality over quantity with people, with the people we love, and ourselves as well, because why not? We are amazing human beings as well, which we probably need a reminder of more frequently. So I want you to take a few deep breaths, and again, make sure you're in a comfortable position. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your stomach, if that makes you feel comfortable. Take 3 deep breaths. Remember, our mantra from before is slowing down is okay and rest is safe. And we're just going to keep breathing. we're just going to settle into the joy of this moment. Take a few more deep breaths to drop into your space and into your body. Place your hands in a comfortable position, maybe your lap, and remind yourself you're right back where you need to be. Bring yourself back to the present moment and open your eyes. So, this is the fun part. We're going to grab our journals, and on a new page over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I want you to check in with yourself on how do you feel in this moment. Okay, that is the main question for your journal practice today. While you're watching this is how do you feel in this moment? And I want you to hit all the levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Okay, and I'm going to do this with you. So, how do you feel in this moment? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Okay, let's go. Okay, so please feel free to hit pause if you need more time, but I have written mine, and I want you to ask yourself, what can you take from what you've written? How can you respond to this via physical act? Okay, so I have an example here for you. If you're feeling low emotionally, a bath with a cold drink might help, or watching or listening to a podcast or YouTube, or just having a hot cup of tea and 30 minutes to yourself to rest and relax and recharge. Okay, so I want you to look at what you've already written, and I want you to take another minute if you need it to figure out what you need as a physical act from what you've written. Okay. Okay. So just take 3 deep breaths and just remember that as you take this moment to just be, what message does your heart have for you? Okay, so this is the part where you can feel free if you want to share. You can drop it in the comments. You can send me a DM on Instagram at AliGraceMuir. You could send me an email at hey@aligracemuir.com and tell me what came up for you during this session. Excuse me, sorry. And I will share what came up for me. So I have my Moleskine journal, and I went through all 4 of them and wrote everything for all 4 of them. Sometimes you will come through that exercise and you maybe will not have written something for all 4 of them, or one of them may have left you stumped, so you've just written, it's okay, you don't need anything, don't feel anything in that moment about being emotional or anything. But I wrote something for all 4 of them. So physically, in this moment, I feel sore, my shoulders feel a bit tight, and my back hurts. And mentally, I feel really, really good. I got out today, I got a lot of fresh air, had a really long walk, hit like 12,000 steps. And it made me feel so much better, and it opened up a lot of brain space to get me thinking and planning, and just, opened up opened up so much for me, and that was really, really helpful. Emotionally, I wrote, I feel blocked. I feel really blocked. I haven't been able to cry recently, and that has been a bit frustrating because I felt like when you have a really good cry, it's a release, isn't it? And that release feels really good. Can't remember what the chemical is in our body that comes about when we cry, that we release when we do cry. But yeah, I feel like I need that, if that makes sense. And spiritually, I feel so-so is what I wrote. I wrote so-so. Am I blocked or am I disconnected? I can't tell. And I put maybe use my oracle cards more with journaling. And and to take them on holiday with me. And then I wrote intuition chats I really needed, and that's okay, but I need to make more time for them in my days, especially my mornings, because that is when I need them the most. And then if we just go back to this part where how can you respond to these for how you feel in this moment aspects and turn them into a physical act. Well, for my shoulders and my back feeling tight and hurting, that is because I haven't been working out recently and I haven't been doing Pilates, and doing Pilates really, really helps my back. And for me, it's pretty simple. It's just doing maybe a 10-minute Pilates workout on my Fitness Plus app tonight or tomorrow morning or whenever I want to squeeze it in, but doing it soon, which will really help as well. Mentally, it's just a reminder to keep getting out of the house, keep going for walks. I have no idea how I can make myself cry. Maybe watch a sad film or something. But I don't really like sad films, so I'm kind of stumped on that one. So yeah. And as I said, spiritually, it is making time in my mornings to have an intuition chat and using my animal spirit oracle cards to journal with. Then I did ask, what message does my heart have for me? And it was just to remind me that slow is the space to go, which doesn't really make much sense, but I can interpret my own weird brain. And basically thinking about space and the space that we take up and the space that we want to take up. And it's just a reminder for me that slow is the space I want to go, and that slow is how much space I want to take up. I want to take it up slowly. I don't want to jump into it. I don't want to go really fastly. I just want to continue with my slow pace. And as I said, if you feel called to share, you can feel free to DM me on Instagram at AliGraceMuir, or you can send me an email at hey@aligracemuir.com. I only check my emails twice a week, though. I'm not an email lover. So just be aware, if you decide to send me an email sharing, I will totally read it and I will totally reply, but I only check my emails twice a week. I'm not an email. I don't love being in my email inbox. Okay, so do feel free to share if you want to. Okay, so are we committed to slowing down and pausing? We know deep down at the back of our brains that we truly know when we need to slow down and take some rest. And I just want you to remember that we've previously gone through this and talked about the signs that our body shows us. And if you haven't done it already, I would highly recommend you making a list of the signs that your body shows you when you're feeling anxious and stressed and hitting close to that direction of burnout, and then making another list that basically tells you how you can deal with those signs that your body shows us. What can you do? Can you change your working hours so you're not spending as many hours a day staring at a screen if headaches are what you've been dealing with the most? Can you maybe delegate to your virtual assistant more to take some of the weight off your shoulders if you're grinding your teeth and you're feeling stressed about a few things? What can you do? And can you remind yourself that there are solutions to all of those things? Like, if I get a migraine, that is my body saying slow down and rest. And that it's okay to reschedule appointments. That it's okay to change things and put yourself first. That is completely 110% okay to put yourself first, okay? And that it's okay to take the afternoon off, put a film on, dim the lights, close the curtains, snuggle under a blanket, take a nap if you need to. They're 101%, 110% things to do, okay? rest is sometimes what our bodies need. I want you to take another breath in and hold it. Exhale it. And let all the stress go nice and slow. I want to thank you for joining me for today's session. And I want to remind you that you are not alone in your need to rest at all. I really hope you enjoyed this session.